The rules. I do not wish to see you again, Witcher. The Bruxa murmured, her silhouette whispering towards the shackled Tavion. Her talons, as graceful as a minuet dancer, twirled over the ropes before severing the binds. Tavion set to free his remaining limbs but was abruptly halted. Do not come for me, she warned, resting a talon against Tavion's vulnerable throat. Or your essence shall paint the earth. She disappeared into the embrace of night, leaving Tavion amid the wreckage of her dark symphony. The Witcher stumbled towards his apprentice, now a marble statue under the cloak of the moonlit village. Come on, Eldric. There are far graver fates than this, Tavion pleaded, pressing a patchwork of rags onto the gaping wound, desperate to stem the flow. Eldric's quiet figure offered no reply. Surely you wouldn't have your old man beg, would you? He pressed on, a weak chuckle breaking through his tears as they began their siege on his weathered features. I am sorry, he choked out, a hollow surrender to the pain festering in his heart. You continue to fail, Witcher. A voice, not bound by a corporeal form, echoed, its mockery seeping from the pool of black ichor that twisted and stretched from the floor. Its tendrils claimed Eldric's lifeless body, dragging him into its gaping maw. How many sorries can one bear? It taunted as it swallowed the boy whole. Can you save him as you did before? Tavion pleaded, struggling to comprehend the monstrous form that has materialized before him. There is nothing left to save, Witcher. The boy has met his end, it declared, its form writhing in grotesque ecstasy. You brought him back before. You can do it again, Tavion implored, his gaze unflinchingly fixed on the abhorrent spectacle. The boy violated a sacred vow when he tried to trade his life for another, a choice that wasn't his to make, it spat, its form growing more and more terrifying. It was a noble sacrifice, made out of compassion, not spite. Surely you can understand that, Tavion retorted. I understand only the rules, Witcher. I can offer the boy nothing, it roared, morphing into Eldric's form. Tavion, though rocked by the entity's refusal to honor his plea, remained resolute. If Eldric ceases to be, then you must too. You are tied to each other. Those are the rules. Indeed, Witcher. The boy and I are entwined once more. He dwells within me. Thus, I exist in his absence, the entity uttered, its final proclamation echoing through the night, before it dissolved into the shadows. Tavion stood rattled, his words lost in the abyss of his defeat. Harvest of souls. The cacophony of terror that surged through the village was a ghastly chorus. Tavion, scarcely clad, burst from the blood-soaked chamber, drawn towards the commotion. A chilling sensation clawed at his spine, whispering tales of the entity taking command of the situation. Suspended in the heart of the village, the entity wore Eldric's visage like a grotesque masquerade. Its tendrils sprouted from its frame like the gnarled roots of a forbidden tree, penetrating the humble dwellings that encircled the space where Eldric was once imprisoned. It harvested the inhabitants from their sanctuaries, herding them like cattle into the moonlit arena. Once all the villagers were ensnared, the entity voiced its verdict. In your midst lurks a beast, a bruxa, sating its monstrous appetite on your blood without causing a ripple of opposition, it thundered, the very stones of the building seeming to shudder under the weight of its words. I will purge this evil, but it demands the currency of your lives, it proclaimed, sending a wave of panic through the throng of villagers. Tavion stepped forward, clinging to the hope that the entity could be reasoned with. There must exist another path. Eldric would never sanction the extermination of an entire populace for the sins of one, he asserted, his words reverberating across the captive audience. Do you present the lesser of two evils, Witcher? It sneered. A pitfall witchers frequently stumble upon, it laughed bitterly, drawing forth the cowering priest. Your comprehension fails, Witcher. These people have basked under the care of the bruxa dwelling among them, it divulged. It preys upon unsuspecting passers-by, and they strip the remains. In return, it dines on their freely offered blood. It unfurled the secret as the tendrils coil around the priest's throat to expose two punctures, perfect mirrors of each other. Tavion staggered under the revelation's impact. The puzzle pieces were taking a horrific form. Please, Witcher, we are but innocents, the priest gasped desperately as the tendrils tightened their chokehold. They plotted to seize the boy, to disgrace him, all for the favor of their wicked mistress, it interrupted the priest's pleas. a sinister chuckle slipping from its terrible grin. I sense your internal struggle, Witcher. Do not be swayed by their pitiful pleas. Your loyalty lies with the boy, and theirs with Abruzza, it voiced, lingering its icy gaze on the confused Tavion standing beside the huddle of villagers. But before Tavion could formulate a response, the entity plummeted to the ground, sending forth a plume of dust and detritus that sent the Witcher flying backwards. Its tendrils lashed around the arena as it morphed into a monstrous caricature, looming over the petrified onlookers, jaws gaping wide, revealing jagged fences of teeth encircling a molten abyss. Its monstrous form undulated under the pale of the moon as its tendrils shepherded the villagers towards the waiting moor, the crowd disappearing one by one into the monstrous depths. Tavion, petrified, could barely comprehend the horror that unfolded before him. Speechless, he could only listen to the sickening sounds of flesh rending and bones snapping. In the distance, a pained, guttural shriek echoed that punctuated the macabre scene.